Hi, and welcome to Occam's Razor, where the simplest answer is often the truth and common sense reign supreme. Occam's Razor is a channel dedicated to the political and social issues of the day that are affecting our country, from a straightforward, honest, commonsensical approach, where the simple answer is the truth. Today we're going to take a look at the difference between illegal migration and legal immigration, and why the government tries to conflict the two, and why Joe Biden's executive order will do absolutely nothing to secure the border. And it's all smoke and mirrors. We are a new channel, so please subscribe to the channel. We need 1,000 subscribers. Like the video, leave a comment, whack that bell, because here we go.
Good afternoon. I've come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do: take the necessary steps to secure our border. 4 months ago, after weeks of intense negotiation between my staff and Democrats and Republicans, we came to a clear bipartisan deal. It was the strongest border security agreement in decades. But then, Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. He told the Republicans, it has been published widely by many of you, that he didn't want to fix the issue, he wanted to use it to attack me. That's what he wanted to do. It was a cynical and an extremely cynical political move, and a complete disservice to the American people who are looking for us to, not to weaponize the border, but to fix it. Today, I'm joined by a bipartisan group of governors, members of Congress, mayors, law enforcement officials, most of whom live and work along the southern border. They know the border is not a political issue to be weaponized. The responsibility we have to share, to do something about it. They don't have time for the games played in Washington, and neither do the American people. So today, I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through a bipartisan legislation, because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed, to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges. But Republicans have left me no choice. Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum. Migrants will be restricted from receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry, asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States. This action will help us to gain control of our border, restore order to the process. This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage. We'll carry out this order consistent with all our responsibilities under international law, every one of them. In addition to this action, we recently made important reforms in our asylum system, more efficient and more secure reforms. The goal is to deliver decisions on asylum as quickly as possible. The quicker decision means that a migrant is less likely to pay a criminal smuggler thousands of dollars to take him on a dangerous journey, knowing that if in fact they move in the wrong direction, they're returned around quickly. And 2 weeks ago, the Department of Justice started a new docket in the immigration courts to address cases where people who recently crossed the border make a decision within 6 months rather than 6 years, because that's what happens now. Additionally, the Department of Homeland Security has proposed new rules to allow federal law enforcement to more quickly remove asylum seekers that have criminal convictions and remove them from the United States. My administration has also recently launched new efforts to go after criminal networks that profit from smuggling migrants to our border, and incentivize people to give tips to law enforcement, provide information that brings smugglers to justice. We're also sending additional federal prosecutors to hotspots along the border and prosecute individuals who break our immigration laws. One other critical step that we will be taking, and that is made a huge difference. We continue to work closely with our Mexican neighbors instead of attacking Mexico. And it's worked. We've built a strong partnership of trust between the Mexican President Lopez Obrador, and I'm going to do the same with the Mexican-elect president who I spoke with yesterday. We've chosen to work together with Mexico as an equal partner, and the facts are clear. Due to the arrangements that I've reached with President Obrador, the number of migrants coming to our shared border unlawfully in recent months has dropped dramatically. But while these steps are important, they're not enough. To truly secure the border, we have to change our laws, and Congress needs to provide the necessary funding to hire 1,500 more border security agents, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backlog of cases, more than 2 million of them, 4,300 more asylum officers to make decisions in less than 6 months instead of 6 years, which is what it takes now, and around 100 more high-tech detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop fentanyl.
Shut the door.
Immigrants are coming from Venezuela and Guatemala, et cetera. Actually, now it turns out they're coming from freaking everywhere.
Central America, South America, Africa, Eastern Europe, China, India.
The nature of migration to the U.S. border is changing. Before the pandemic, nearly 9 out of 10 migrants came from the 4 countries closest to the southern border. Now, for the first time ever, the majority come from elsewhere, from more distant countries in the Americas, or from as far away as Africa and Asia. We have the world at our doorstep, in spite of our efforts to shut the door. CBP or the Mexican authorities come, plug up the hole with barbed wire, and then the smugglers just come and snip it open again. It's happened over and over, and it'll keep happening. Near this gap, we see about 30 migrants, all from China, walking into the U.S. Last year, 37,000 Chinese citizens crossed the border, according to Customs and Border Protection.
Okay, well, there you go. Joe Biden's new executive order designed to secure the southern border and to fix our broken immigration system. But it's not going to do either one. It's not going to secure the border, and it's not going to fix our immigration system because, number one, they don't want the border secure. And how do you know? Because it says when a certain number, 2,500 people on average per day, then the border will be closed. But one's too many. What do you mean 2,500? So he doesn't want to secure the border. He just wants to control the flow. And it's not immigration. It's illegal migration. And that's the crux of the issue. When the Democrats can say with a straight face that the border's secure, it's because they don't consider the people coming across the border illegally as illegal. What's the problem? And when the Republicans say that we brought out a bill to secure the border, H.R. 2, which has just sat on Schumer's desk for 14 months, that's true, because there's a difference between border security and immigration. And what are you going to do with the immigrants? So if you tell them you want to build the wall, secure the border, stop the flow, that's called border security. Because the people that are coming across the border aren't supposed to be here. But what they've done over decades is made it more and more and more palatable, more and more and more acceptable, more and more normal, by conflicting the meaning between immigration and migration, between illegal and legal. We have a legal immigration policy, and it's not really broken, it just could use some refining. What we don't have is a secure border. What we don't have is the will to stop it, because both parties have a dog in this hunt. Democrats get easy votes, and the rhinos get cheap labor. And so it works for both of them. The persons it doesn't work for is the average American person who's being displaced, spending our tax dollars to support people who are here illegally. So how did all this happen? And why is it okay or not okay? Well, turns out that over the last decades, they've been slowly changing what the terminology is with regards to immigration and migration, illegal and legal. So let's go back in history, shall we? The Constitution of the United States calls someone who is here illegally an illegal alien, and that's exactly what we called them until the late 1900s. About 1980, 1990, it started to change. And it was intentional that they took them from being illegal aliens to undocumented workers. And then it switched from undocumented workers to dreamers. And then it switched recently to newcomers. And if you're against it, then you're xenophobic, because don't you know this country was built on immigration? It was, but it was built on legal immigration. People who came here, got a visa or permission to be in the country, got a green card, got a job, studied, became American citizens, because that's why they were here, to become Americans, not to become foreign nationals living in the United States, but to assimilate as American citizens. That's what all our goals in the early 1900s, in the early part of the 20th century. All the cultures that were here to become a great melting pot and become Americans, because they appreciated the American ethic, the freedom, the liberty, the chance to get ahead, the lack of a class structure. And that's why they came here, and that's the Statue of Liberty. How dare them say that the Statue of Liberty is still in effect because of all the migration? It's got nothing similar. The flow of illegal migrants is here for two reasons. One, change the culture of the country to a homogeneous blah. Two, change the voting patterns and demographics of the country so that there's no longer a two-party system, but a one-party system. And that's a fact. And that's why the Latino vote is leaning hard right this election, because they don't want to see that either. And oh, by the way, they're not just from Latin countries. There's 30,000 Chinese of military age that have come across the border in San Diego. There are people coming from Africa. There are people coming from every country in the world. And they're flowing in, and as soon as they get here, what do they get? A debit card, a phone, money, place to live. What? The U.S. government has $0 without the taxpayer. So this is not their money, it's our money. And when they tell you they want to fix the broken immigration system, tell them to fix the spending. Tell them to help our veterans. Tell them to help the people in this country who are citizens. That's Occam's razor. That's the simplest truth. That's common sense. Like the video. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. We need 1,000 subscribers. And I'll see you next time.